Hello freelancers, this is the Storm. Now the Storm is going to be your caster subclass, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be your mage, it's going to be your wizard, it's going to be the one wearing cloth, it's going to be weak, it's going to be your glass cannon. Able to put out a lot of damage, able to do many things for your team, able to be effective far away, but if you're up close in the mix and you get overwhelmed, you're probably going to get toast. So the Storm has the abilities of lightning, ice, and fire, but does not have access to acid or venom or whatever you want to call that. That it does not have access to, and it really does not have much in the way of physical abilities. So all of its blast seals, all of its focus seals are going to be fire, ice, or lightning. Its melee is a fire detonator, its combo effect is going to be spreading those elemental effects, and then its ultimate is even just an elemental storm of those three large things put together. So really this is not a physical combatant. You can technically have a melee, but it's just a fiery strike when you land. But it is going to be one of those that is able to do tons of damage, has some really cool effects. You're able to float in the air different than everyone else. You guys see the blue glowing shield around this thing. It's different than all other classes. All classes have a shield of some kind. The Ranger and the Interceptor have an energy shield. You guys see it up in the health bar. The Colossus is truly just physical, big giant shield in front of it that you can see. The Storm has a similar shield to the Ranger and the Interceptor, but it works differently. When you hover in the air and you float and are airborne, the shield is actually more effective. So all those little glowing things on the arm over there, those are what make that shield. Those are your kind of connection to the seals. There's lore to that, I'm sure, which hopefully I'll learn later. But all of those pieces are the way this character plays differently. You're not going to want to be on the ground because your shield is not as effective. You're going to want to be up in the air from a distance, shooting down. So your weapons are also going to play differently. A sniper rifle, a marksman's rifle, so like a scout rifle from Destiny, anything like that, is going to be very effective and helpful because you're going to be at range. So things like machine pistols, auto rifles, all those types of weapons are not going to be nearly as effective as something where you can make sure each shot counts. Sniper rifles, the one I've got, is a beast. It's crazy. It's really fun to shoot. And then a marksman rifle for those tags when you need it. All of those are going to go with the combo effect. So you've got your primers, you've got your detonators. You've got a couple more. You've got one more primer than detonator, depending on how the classes fall. But you're going to be, when you do a combo, say I prime something with ice and I freeze it, and then I throw a fire burning orb on it and it explodes, what it's going to do is spread the elemental effect of the primer to the other enemies. So if, say, I set something up with living fire and it actually gets on fire, and that primes it, and then I do a glacial spear, that detonator is going to spread the fire, or it's going to spread the ice. So it allows you to kind of keep that chained elemental effect going, which is really going to help you out, because sometimes if you do something like Ice Storm or Ice Blast, and those primers actually set up the adds, and then you throw a burning orb down, explode them, and then ice goes to other enemies, and then you throw another burning orb down, and it goes to other enemies. You guys get where I'm going. So it can be very effective, but it is very squishy. By squishy, I mean just like some classes. Picture a mage. It wears cloth. It cannot wear heavy armor. Same thing here. It is going to be weaker in the taking damage department, but very strong in the output department. So that long intro aside, I'm going to go through the abilities with you, kind of pair up some primers and detonators where I can. Not all of them work that way, but I'll try and show you guys the ones as best as possible. Cover the melee, the ultimate, see if we can get a combo effect to show. I'll cover you the supports, and then we'll wrap it all back up at Fort Tarsus. Just a quick rundown so you guys can see what all the icons and everything looks like when you're actually in the Forge. So let's talk about the abilities next. Alright, so for abilities, I have Ice Shards, Frost Shards. This is going to be a primer. This is my focus seal. So when I throw these down, these are going to actually work to freeze an enemy. Now once it's frozen, then I can combo it and actually lightning strike them, and that's what that one is. So that's a detonator. So again, my primer first is going to be Frost Shards. I've got 10 of these things. Launch them up. That actually can kill an enemy, so if it does, that's fine. Recharge seems to be fairly quick on this, so if you let go, comes back pretty fast. If it is frozen, which I think it's the demo and the effect isn't there, then you can throw that thing down and pretty much put the work in. Now again, the recharge time on the Frost Shards, it's pretty quick. It's not nearly as bad. And you can still, take out enemies. Did you guys notice how long I was floating up there without even thinking about it? That's kind of the cool thing about the Storm. So the flight time, normal flight, like what I would call, sprint flying, it's going to be fast. But as soon as I hit hover, that flight gauge down there just chills. And again, if you need to change levels, You can hover around. And as long as you're in this hover mode, you're in good shape. Now, same principle coming up. We're going to go ice shards. Freeze some of these up, see if we can get a combo. And chain that effect to others. And now you notice other things actually have that frozen effect. So I can spread that effect around, which is really nice. So then, potentially, when that effect comes up again, there you go. So that ice effect is powerful in and of its own. But, and you can still, look, I can still fire weapons up here. I'm still not totally useless. And again, that actual detonation is pretty cool. So again, want to make sure I get the frost target on him. And then see if I can get that nice effect. Combo and bonus damage and spreading that effect around. Now, one thing to make note is when you get overheated as a storm, you are going to want to make sure you move. Get out of the way quickly. Make sure you don't get overheated so your shield can be more effective up in the air. See if you get any health packs that you need. And then again, once you are up in that air, that hover, that ability to hold that damage is the key. So, frost up some targets or maybe just lightning one of them. That's just a cool effect. I don't care what anybody says. So again, set them on fire. No, sorry. So again, freeze up the guys first. So get it frozen, charge them up, get that combo going, and you can keep it working. Now, one of the support abilities of this class is going to be your wind wall. So now, when you don't have a shield, you want to get out of dodge really fast, because your health is going to go really fall. Your shield protects you from effects and prevents you from stumbling when hit. So that's kind of a key. So right now, I'm just going to take this guy out, see if I can get a little bit of health back. Take this time to get my shield back, and then get back up in the air and kind of be up here doing what I need to be doing. Now again, you don't always have to start with the primer. It is nice if I can actually get it going that way. A little bit of frost going. Again, more shards down here. I might kill some of the ads, but then if I don't, that combo is going to work really well in that chaining effect. And again, this is why the marksman rifles, these sniper rifles, of which this thing's always just ridiculous. I love it though. It's like an artillery cannon that you're walking around with, so it's a lot of fun. But again, these shards, the range that you've got on these, you've got 10 of them, so I can actually kill an ad with them. My support is a wind wall. Now, the wind wall is actually going to be a thing that if I drop below it, will take the projectiles and actually won't let them through. So I can hide behind it. I can still shoot through it, which is the nice thing about being on my side. I can still shoot projectiles. I can still freeze an ad. I can still combo them. But their projectiles are not going to get me, which helps me survive. Especially as a solo player, if you're playing this class solo, your whole goal is definitely to make sure... You also have a teleport, by the way. Teleport's cool. For stuff just like that. So once you get to the bigger things, and that's where those combos come into play really well. And again, if you see that evade thing come up, that's where you're teleport. So you're like warping instead of a dash. You truly do teleport. It's almost nearly instant. Now that's basically one of those glitches of the demo where ads will like kind of come and go. They'll come back, don't worry. But notice how long I'm floating up here, and just sit up here. And this is your sole purpose. Hang out up top in the world, be up high, help with priming, help with detonating, do what you need to do, and just keep the damage output going. So once again, ice shards, lighten guys up, pretty cool effect. And then, honestly still one of the awesomest effects is the lightning strike. So, next abilities coming up. Alright, the next abilities we're going to do are the Ice Storm Primer, and then we're going to use the Burning Orb as a detonator. So the Ice Storm looks as follows. So it will fire multiple shots down, set them up, and then the Burning Orb will actually combo and hit them. Now the Burning Orb is cool, because you'll notice I can fire quick shots, if I want to do it that way, or... if I can prime one up again, completely freeze him, I can charge one of my single shots and combo that damage and put that explosion out there. So that one's actually pretty cool. So again, wait for my Ice Storm to come up, fully charged. Use the full effect of it, get the nice lockdown, frozen combo, giant bomb, and combo effect toast. So... again, this is Ice Storm and Burning Orb. So Ice Storm, going to be the continuous shots with a full charge. and then that final one for that extra burst and that nice little top off. And then if you need to combo it, don't fall out of the sky, throw your fireball. Now you can throw 1, you have 5. Now you can throw them slowly and get them recharged just about as fast as you fire them, because I can throw 1, recharge again, wait for it to go, there's another one. And I'll use some, or I can fire them fast and quick. Bam, bam, bam. And those are still going to do some damage as well. So that is your Ice Storm, Primer, and Burning Orb Detonator. On to the next pair. So the next pair of abilities that we're going to be looking at are Flame Burst and Arc Burst. These are neither Primer nor Detonator, and these are going to be just straight up damage. Flame Burst obviously fire, Arc Burst obviously electrical. So let's get up high so we can get some range up here. First we're going with Flame Burst. So once you're up here, we're going to go Q. And it's just a quick shot. You have 5 of them. So if it's a middle level guy, you can throw it out there a couple times. And again, you can just throw it as quick as you like. Got to throw it up, charge it up. And that's pretty much what it is. Little circle, flame burst, pretty much self-described. Now, lightning burst is actually going to take an enemy. So if we got one down here, see if we can line our shot up. And it's one pretty quick, powerful shot. Now that's an Elementalist, which is definitely going to be a struggle, but at least I'm the right type to look at it. But again, here's the Flame Burst. Just a quick shot of damage. I'm able to be pretty effective in some round areas. And even these 3 out here. You don't really get to aim it as much, but you do actually get to put out some pretty quick damage with it if you need to. Marksman Rifle's pretty forgiving. Again, still hanging out up here for a while. Now, there's one thing that the Arc Burst will actually do, and I need to find multiple enemies to show you guys what that's like. So let's see if I can find a couple that are grouped. Alright, so we got a couple here. See if we can actually hit one directly. And you guys will see the chain actually went to the other enemies. So I can finish them with the frost, with the burst. It does seem to lock on pretty intensely on one. But that electricity, the arc burst, will actually chain to enemies. So that's the nice thing about it. And my shield is out. So, or I'm overheated. I'll just wait a minute. But yeah, effect, just a quick burst of fire in a certain area. Pretty circular dome effect. And then your arc burst, if I can find some ads. There might be some up here. Usually is. So come up here, try and find a group, and see if you can see this chain effect. We're actually chained between 3 enemies. So even not all the ones that you're looking at, it will chain between them. So again, I can go Flame Burst here. Quick bursts, decent damage on a group of ads. It's actually pretty powerful. And then I'm even able to chain. Now if my shield goes down, I am in trouble, so I gotta be careful. With that Flame Burst, I can just keep it going. And again, if I'm really in trouble with one guy over here, put a wall in front of him, he can't do too much. If I fall down behind it, I'm pretty good. As I have a couple powerful enemies up there, let me get my shield back up, and then I'm going to show you guys the ultimate. Alright, so the Elemental Storm is a combination of all 3 elements. It is a primer and detonator all on its own. So I'm going to say, come up high, see if I can find my large enemies here. And then we're going to go for the big shot. So you're going to pick your position. Your first one falls. That's going to be your ice, kind of like a primer. Then you're going to go for that big combo damage with the electricity. And then finally the fire on top afterwards. All 3 shots. So it is really quite powerful. I am on hard, so these guys take a lot of damage, by the way. That's why I'm not just weak. They have a lot of health. But again, if I have that issue, I can put that wall in front of them. Can't do too much. And then if I got to run, I can get away. Or be killed. But anyway, let's go back to another couple other abilities, and I'll be right back. Alright, so once again, let's take a look at our ultimate ability. We're going to line up all the ads here. Prime them down. And these are little, so they're probably going to get killed really quickly. But I am able to do tons and tons of damage with this thing, pretty much just wrecking everything in sight. So it's a triple shot, ice, lightning, and fire, primer, element, detonator, all on its own. Ultimate ability, Elemental Storm, is pretty cool. Alright, so the next abilities we are going to look at is going to be the Ice Blast, and then we're going to look at the Glacial Spear. So the Ice Blast is going to be Q. and you just literally throw a chunk of heavy rocks at an enemy, and then that Glacial Spear can combo it, which worked really well right there, I do have to say. Same thing, it's a chunk of rocks. If you hit them with enough, you'll get that nice little combo effect. Pretty slow, and that Glacial Spear is powerful, especially in that combo effect. One more time. Again, those rocks, kind of got to learn how to aim those things. They're a bit funky. Hold that thought. If you guys do want to see a little melee fire here, let's do that real quick. So I actually missed that one. But again, if you are trying to get that melee, get slightly above, see if we're hovering over, and then get that slam going down, and that'll get some nice fire. But you do not want to get smacked, actually. That will hurt. Brutes, of course. So he's totally frozen again. Glacial Spear. Put some really nice combo damage in there. It's a powerful one, definitely, for sure. So, just floating out in range, your ice blocks are going to look as follows. So say I'm going to try and get that plant over there. A little farther away, might want to aim slightly above. And again, I don't even have the range for that one. So range is definitely a thing. You're not going to be trying to put this into a bunch of little small targets. The bigger ones like the brutes, the tanks. Bigger targets are going to be your focus for that one. But your Glacial Spear for a combo effect is going to have some pretty nice power on it. So this, charge it up, find that slot, and then just fire it. Now the range is not infinite. I don't even think I could hit that rock formation from where I was. Might have to come back a little closer, try this again. And that one you can actually see probably does hit. Now over here, these might actually get the splash damage reasonably well. So those rocks, I did hit one. So if I hover and I go for the Glacial combo, that combo is going to freeze those other ones. Now you guys see what I'm talking about. So that will freeze those. This one's going to come up. I can go for the explosion here. Now that one's actually fading on its ability. Ooh, that's cute. But again, throw the rocks, get a nice double freeze. Now I can even still freeze these guys, get that combo damage, and it chains. The combos are cool. So that's the idea. You've got the Glacial Spear, this little fire, this little kind of quick ice beam. You might picture an Iceman move. And then these rocks, just literally throwing rocks of ice. You've got a decent range if you can aim them. It's just all about aiming them up and getting the arc covered. Then come down here, another burst. Nice little combo. So that is the Ice Blast and the Glacial Spear, and we're going to finish up with the last two. Alright, Freelancers, so your final combo that we're going to see here is the Living Flame. So Living Flame is going to be the ability of a kind of fire ability that's going to go hunt and seek enemies, which is pretty cool. And then I still have my Glacial Spear as the detonator, so if any of these get primed, then we can go check that out. So let's go fly over, see if we can find some ads. This thing, I've seen it chain to multiple people, which is cool. So let's see if we can find some ads to shoot. Looks like I'm not alone over here, so as you can tell, your sprint basically turns into a glide. If you played Destiny, the Warlock will feel very familiar with this class. Your double jump is definitely a jump and then a glide forward, not so much on a jump and then a double jump, but a jump and a glide. Maybe we'll get some enemies over here and see what we got. Well, so you guys can see it, it's going to have a really weird look. So you're going to charge it up, it's going to kind of just fly around, do its own thing, seek for a while. I don't know if it's going to make it all the way out there or just kind of finally dissipate, but we do have some scorpions up here, so we'll see if we can get it to chain between all of those. Give it just a second. Got 4 of them up there. It should probably hit most of them. It does pretty much have a mind of its own. I've seen it do 1, I've seen it do 5. Let's go ahead and get this thing going. So that should chain. Should hit the first one. And that one actually nearly died from it. So it did not want to chain too much after that. Maybe I just sent it too far away. So maybe if I get closer to these guys once it's ready, then it might actually chain between more of them. So again, it's going to take a little learning on all of these abilities to figure out what works best, how they work. So then this one, we've got 1, 2. We did hit all 3. They're all on fire, and they pretty much all toasted. So that Living Fire is able to take out quite a few ads. Charge time on it is a little longer, so definitely something to keep in mind. But again, once it is charged up, if I can keep this guy at bay and this one at bay, it might see if I can get the Living Flame on the other 2 up here. There we go. It's just a quick cast. It's going to do its own thing. Find that one. Find the next one. Their health is going to tick down because they are on fire. Now, if they were lower level, that fire might actually tick long enough to actually prime them up. But as these are smaller enemies, they do not stay alive long enough to get hit with that detonator. Again, we got about 5 here. Maybe this guy, the Elite Worker, actually might get primed. So we'll see if I can actually tag him for sure. But it killed 3 of them. 4. It's searching out. There's 5. Quite a few killed in just one shot. I do want to find this elite guy, see if I can tag him with it specifically. Or this one maybe. Either way, either of these elite workers do have a bit more health, so we'll see how this goes. And if I can get one to actually prime and be kind of tagged and burning, then I will see if I can detonate it with the Glacial Strike. So that's going to be it. It's cooking. It is on fire. And that combo, man, this is still on hard mode, and that just double shot. So, again, so powerful, this storm. But again, if you get in a bad spot, you get overwhelmed, you get fallen on the ground, you get knocked down, you are pretty much in trouble. So keep that in mind, and remember, you can do a lot of damage, but you've got to play it safe. And that combo on that thing is crazy. Yeah, that Glacial Spear is extremely powerful. I mean, it is 19, so it may be a little higher than some. But again, I also want to show you guys one more time the ultimate. All right, here are a couple of these Anris Hours. And these guys have a decent amount of armor on their head, so this will be an interesting thing to see how the heavy, or the ultimate, actually goes through. The ultimate is the Elemental Storm. So we're going to cast it, go into ultimate. So I've got the target on them first. It's going to freeze them. Well, they're pretty much already dead. Then it would do the electricity, and then it would finish with the firebomb to finish them up. So that's the ultimate. It is pretty effective. I guess that was overkill for those 2 guys. Maybe I'll see if I can find one more. Alright, freelancers. This will be a good showing of the ultimate for this character. So, this is an Ash Titan. Lesser, so nothing crazy. So I will try and hit it with fire. Probably not as effective. And it is pretty powerful, but let's go ahead and see what the super can do to this thing. So I got 3 shots on it. This is going to be the ice starting. Then I'm going to hit it with the electricity next. Then I'm going to hit it with the fire for the final combo. And that's going to do most of the damage I need to do. And that's a lesser Ash Titan, and that is just me, and this is hard. So, I mean, that's a lot of damage. Going to do most of what I need to. Again, on the Titans, hitting their arms is the weak spot. And he's pretty toast. Now, I mean, this is hard, so I don't want you guys to think this is easy. But again, many things have been changed for the demo. Couple rare ones for me, and we are good to go. So that pretty much wraps it up. We're going to head back into the Forge. I'll get another wrap-up of the abilities and everything with you guys. But yep, that is the Elemental Storm putting in some work on a Titan. Alright, so just to wrap up the Storm, remember, you're going to be at range. So your weapons, you're going to want something farther. So I've got my Sniper, my Marksman Rifle. That's going to serve me well. We've got our Blast Seals first, which are going to be as follows. We've got Lightning Strike, which is still one of the coolest effects. Great animation job on that one. You've got your Ice Storm, which is the burst of frost target that build up an ice explosion. You're going to have your Flame Burst, which is going to be a series of fire explosions on a targeted location. Very similar, just those quick bursts. Then you're going to have your Ice Blast, which is going to be the large chunks of ice just flying through the air, hopefully building up that ice. And then your Living Flame, which is going to be basically a living fire that kind of seeks out enemies, even through walls, and usually I've seen it hit about 5 of them at a cap. So all pretty cool enemy effects there. You've got your Focus Seals on the other side. So first we're going to have our Frost Shards. These are an ice primer. Shoots a stream of target-seeking ice shards. So they're pretty quick. Then you've got the Burning Orb, definitely one of my favorites. The Fast Firebolts, or the one charge-up large exploding fireball, which is awesome. I do not have Shock Burst, but that will be an electric primer. So I will have to see that one at another date. You've got the Glacial Spear, which is the detonator for ice, and that one's actually pretty powerful when that thing combos, right? And then, of course, your Arc Burst, which is the lightning bolt that can arc and damage 2 other enemies with that chain lightning effect as well. Remember, your melee is that Fire Strike. Your ultimate is all 3 together. Basically, you prime them with ice, you do the electric, finish them with the nice fire detonation. And remember, when you combo with the Storm, it's going to be spreading that effect. So in those sections previously, you saw the ice would spread. As I blasted, it would spread again. So that nice way to keep that chain going, maybe help with some crowd control if needed. And if you have a large group of enemies, depending on how difficult they are and how big the group is, you can chain and put a lot of effects together. They're going to help that elemental spread over and over. Finally, the supports down here, you've got the Wind Wall, that projectile wall, and then the Quickening Field is going to be just that zone of power, gets 20% increased recharge rate on all of your gear. So that is the Storm. Looking forward to the game coming out, guys. If you have not followed me on Twitch or Twitter, it's Ebontis on both. I've been streaming a lot of this stuff. I'll be streaming more as we get closer towards release and during the next demo. And then right here on YouTube, if you guys are finding this here, you guys know I'm going to have a lot more content to go on this game. Lots to learn, lots of builds, things like that. And just missions, gameplay, helpful solo tips, things like that. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like below, leave a comment if you got any questions, and then of course right here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. I've got a lot of more videos to come to you, so stay tuned and hit that notification bell if you want those coming into your feed. Other than that, have a good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you guys are at around the world. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.